Hey guys, Jeff here with Passive Income Unlocked, and this is the June 2022 income report. If you want to follow along, head on over to passiveincomeunlocked.com. I'll also put a link in the description below. So if you want the short version, in June we made $50,750. That was down from about $62,000 in May, so I'll jump into that in a minute. Our expenses were about $10,500, leaving us with a net profit of just over $40,000. So as far as the update goes, I showed you in the last update, so if you want to see the screenshots, but I showed you that 3 of our sites were hit. You can see a drastic drop. I say drastic, it was probably about 20% or so, kind of varied from site to site, but 3 of our sites were hit by the update. You can see it very clearly. I think it was May 25th, and those sites that got hit, they kind of stayed down. I don't think they've really recovered, maybe very, very slightly, but not to the point where some people have seen a recovery on their sites. However, seeing a drop of 20% or so isn't the end of the world by any means. That seems to be what we've come to expect when we do get hit by an algorithm update on one of our sites. It's usually somewhere between like 10 and 25%, maybe 30% on the high side. People do sometimes still get hit by 70 or 80%, but it doesn't seem to be nearly as likely as it used to be. So probably if you're building sites the right way, that helps. But I know that there are people out there that say that they're building sites the right way, not doing anything shady, and they still get hit. So you never know on that. For us, it kind of drives home the point of having multiple sites. It provides extra protection for you. Obviously, there's other things you can do as well, such as building other traffic sources. You could also sell your site if you want to take that risk out completely. So you build it up to a point, you sell it before you potentially get hit by that update. But for us, we're not too worried about it. And we're not going to just drop everything because we got hit by an update on a few sites. We expect these things to happen from time to time, and we're just going to keep pushing through. We're not going to make any drastic changes unless Google comes out and says that this is what you should be doing instead of this, which we know is not going to happen. So for us, unless there's something very definitive that comes out about what that update was about, we're just going to stay the course, just focus on trying to produce quality or high quality content on our sites and just keep finding ways to improve. Because really that's what it's all about. That's what those algorithm updates are supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be improving the results that visitors see when they go to Google search. So next, jump into the sites and posts. I'm going to bring up a screenshot here. So this has the age of all of our sites, including our case study site, which is now 8 months old. As you can see, our 4 oldest sites there have about 700 or more posts on them. Our 5th site that we just got monetized on Mediavine a couple months ago has getting close to 600, and our case study is at 350 posts. As far as our posting frequency goes, we did decide last month to double down on our 3 highest performing sites. So that's site number 1 and 2, our 2 oldest sites, plus My Backyard Life. So we're going to double down on those and basically start posting 1 post per day, and that's going to start in July. So we haven't seen the effect of that yet, but hopefully that will actually help those sites grow a little bit more quickly. So as far as traffic and revenue goes, we're going to keep the other sites at, so sites 4 and 5 at, or actually 3 and 5, I should say. We're going to keep those at 4 posts per week. And then our case study site, we're publishing roughly 30 to posts per month currently. We'll probably keep that there for a little bit, maybe around until we get to about 500 posts, and we'll kind of adjust from there. So as far as traffic, I'll bring up a screenshot here. And as you can see in the screenshot, we lost quite a bit of traffic in June. Of course, you have 1 less day in June, so that's a very small part of it, but most of it there is because of the algorithm update on the 3 sites. And then also we have some seasonality there as well. So sites number 1 and 2, they're already past their peak. So site 1 is a site that performs best in the winter months, and then it starts gradually going down throughout the year. It'll come back up here probably in a couple months or so. Site number 2 tends to peak early on in the spring and then starts to gradually decline from there. And it was also hit by the algorithm update, so it was declining a little bit more. Then the other sites there you can see dropped a little bit as well. So that's kind of where we're at with traffic. As far as revenue, which I'll pull up next, you will see that the revenue did not drop by as much as the traffic, and that's basically due to the RPMs going up. Basically, when you are with an ad network, you will see that the RPMs go up from month to month within a quarter, and then they kind of drop back down again for the first month of a quarter, and then just kind of repeats that cycle. Quarter 4, so Q4, as people say, is going to always be the best one, and then Q1 is going to always be the lowest one. So we were just in Q2 there, which is a good one, and we ended really strong. Going into July here, the first few days, I can just tell you it dropped pretty drastically. That's what you expect to happen. So if our traffic does not increase going into July from June, our revenue will probably be down pretty substantially. I don't know how substantially, maybe $5,000 or so. So we're going to probably be in the mid $40,000 mark in July if we don't see an increase in traffic. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see with that. Next, I'll bring up a couple screenshots from our main revenue sources. So the first one here is from Mediavine. As you can see there, site number 2, which is the 4th one listed, brought in the lion's share of the revenue, as has been the case this spring so far, spring and summer. And then My Backyard Life and site number 1 are the two that are around $12,000. And then you got the other two there that are also chipping in as well. Next screenshot I'll bring up is from Amazon Associates. So as you can see, we made about $1,200 from our U.S. account. There's another $100 from UK and Canada that's not pictured there as well. And if you want the details on our other revenue sources, which were very small last month, you can just go over to the written version on passiveincomeunlocked.com. So as far as our expenses go for June, we spent $10,648, a little bit higher than the last couple of months. As I mentioned, we were going to ramp up for producing more content, and that's exactly what we did. If you look at the expenses broken out over at passiveincomeunlocked.com, you'll see that close to $10,000 of that is attributed to content, so outsourcing. So for the net profit for June, revenue of $50,750 minus expenses of $10,648 left us with a net profit of $40,102. So still a very strong month for us. It's obviously disappointing to see it drop from $62,000 down to $50,000 for revenue, but we still made $40,000 of net profit at the end of the day, so we definitely cannot complain by any means. All right, so going into the future, no surprise here. We're not going to really change anything. As I've been saying literally all year long, our focus has been to just work on improving the quality of our sites by doing various things like targeting clusters on our sites, like existing clusters, to make them stronger. We've actually been trying to improve our keyword research process and doing a lot of internal linking and so on. None of that's going to change. We think these things will really benefit us going forward. Even if we got hit by the update, we don't think we got hit by the update because we're doing these things. And we're not going to make any drastic changes because we got hit by an update. If you want to protect yourself for future updates, or if you have your first site now and you're kind of worried about these updates, there are things you can do, but I would be hesitant to do them. So one thing you can do is you can add additional sites. So instead of growing just one site, you might grow 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. You could also try to build additional traffic sources. So instead of just getting traffic from Google search, you could put some focus onto social media. Then of course, there's always the option of selling a site. If you do grow a site to a certain point, if you sell it before you get hit by an update, that's probably the ultimate protection. Just to back up though to the other two things that I mentioned, so adding or diversifying your traffic sources, or just diversifying by having multiple sites, they do have some drawbacks as well. So if you add additional sites, one thing that you might notice is it's going to be very difficult to focus on quality on those sites. So the quality might drop across your portfolio of sites. As a result, your overall growth might actually be worse than it would be if you had just one site or two sites. That's something that we've seen ourselves, and that's one of the main reasons we've decided up to this point to not add any additional sites this year. As far as traffic sources, kind of the same thing. So if you put effort into social media because you don't want all your traffic coming from Google search, or if you want to try to work on building an email list, for example, to drive traffic through your email list instead of Google search, those things are definitely good. It's definitely good to diversify. But at the same time, by doing these things, you're taking away from other things you could be doing to grow your sites. So you might actually be hurting yourself by doing these things. That's where for us, we know the risk going in, that we're going to focus on Google search. And we know that if this is our main traffic source and we get hit by an update from a Google algorithm update, that it's going to hit us a lot harder than it would if we diversified our traffic sources. We're okay with that because we know that if we focus on growing Google search traffic only, we're going to grow it a lot higher and a lot faster than we would overall versus growing traffic from multiple sources. So guys, that's all I had for this update. Hopefully you didn't get hit. If you did, try to find a way to push through. I've heard a lot of stories of people that have bounced back on the next update or a couple updates down the road, sometimes even without doing anything. So don't give up on your site. Hopefully you can pull through. Thanks for watching as always, and I will see you in the next one.